family had that same experience, and she's never been married.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
We
that's
got to
one
be
thing. You
careful
have
how
to
we
be
really treat
so
each other.
careful. Absolutely. It's incredible.
And another thing is, women will tell me, or I'll hear a lot directly from women, although I'm sure men go through it too, but don't openly admit it, is women will talk about having a low self-esteem issue. I'm sure men do too.
Absolute. As a matter of fact, I would say it's 50-50. I see a
Really?
lot of men. My practice is pretty much 50-50.
That's interesting.
I'm so happy the brothers are coming in with self healing and self care. Yeah. I had a wonderful client today. Um, he's a university professor, brilliant man, and he's doing the work.
Yeah, it's interesting because even my guest that I had on 2 days ago, Juan from California, Los Angeles, he
My
says
buddy,
he says he's born, bred, raised there. He's not an import from New York or
he's so
Chicago,
LA.
Atlanta. Yeah, and he had talked very highly about you. And as I was telling you just before we came on the air, that I'm coming home late one night, and some person that I knew kind of stopped me and was talking because he wanted to introduce me to somebody he was talking to. And
Hmm.
this couple was walking past me, and this was in the evening, but evidently she heard my voice. She says, "Are you Lloyd Strayhorn?" I said, "Yes." And then she went on to rave about whatever you did for her, you got 5 gold stars that night. That's all I know. And show you how my dysfunction works is I couldn't remember her name, but I knew she was born December the 8th. I couldn't remember his name, but I knew he was born September the 16th.
You're
And
such a numerologist.
I focus. So it's just amazing. And so to me, I guess for you, it must be very satisfying to go between the layers, as people describe it, to get to the root of a situation to help them bring about a more healthier outlook on themselves and an outlook on life as a result. Would you say?
Absolutely. That woman that you saw texted me and she said, I saw Lloyd. I manifested him. I've been wanting to meet him for a very long time. And she says, I feel like I manifested him. So she told me about it. We spoke on the phone and
Yeah.
then she did her follow up appointment. I saw her the day after our last appointment. She did marvelously well, like so well. And then she did her follow up because, like I said, after the first appointment and you have movement and shift and change, then more things come up and you want to hone in and really, I mean, no, perfection is scary. I always tell people don't strive for perfection. You'll make yourself just
Because
so anxious.
nobody's perfect. Nobody.
And right, we're not here to be perfect. We're here to learn and grow and love and but we're not here to be perfect. So
Do you in your experience tend to either pinpoint or understand why that is? We are caught up into being perfect, yet we're the most flawed people walking the planet.
well, think about when you were a child. Like I know, I'll just use my own children. I was a young mother and I saw my children as a reflection of me. So I would always say, listen, when you're outside this house, don't go out there and act the fool. Okay? Don't embarrass me.
Dude, I heard that. That sounds real familiar. Yeah.
So my poor little girls, like they were little and they had the queen's manners. Parents would say, how did you do that? How did you get your children? Like after dinner, they got up. They said, "Thank you for dinner." They wanted to clear the table, and they were trying to load the dishwasher. And like, how did you do that? Would you please take my kids for a week, train them? But it was my insecurity.
What do you mean?
It
That's
was
odd that you would say that. That what and in light of what they did.
I mean,
What
it
do
was
you
great
mean?
that they had great manners. It was great that they were complimented and everything, but it was part of the pressure that I put on them, right? Like
Oh,
I
I see. I see.
Right. You are not going to be a statistic. Yes, I was a young mother, but you will not be a statistic. You will go to university and you will graduate with honors and you will do this and you will do that because you are wonderful and marvelous and brilliant, you know,
Well, I
just so
wouldn't
you
say
don't make me look
too much
bad.
pressure on them. You didn't put too much pressure on them, but it was,
I
but I
think
just
you have
think
to
it
ask them. I think they'd have to answer that.
no, but no, but when I was saying it kind of facetiously because then you expect them to graduate and honor you. You know what I'm saying?
I
And
didn't
so,
really mean with honors, but it happened. But I didn't expect that.
yeah,
In fact, at one point, with one of my oldest daughter was attending the University of Toronto, a really difficult. It's considered Ivy League in Canada, and I've never seen such a miserable campus. The kids are all so miserable and sad, and it has a very high suicide rate at that school.
really,
And I told her, listen, for what you're going to do after you graduate, you don't have to have straight A's. I don't expect it. I want you to have fun. So just relax. Just pass. I don't care what you pass with, just pass. How about that? And it took a lot of pressure off of her and it was much easier. And she did graduate with honors, but I think me just saying that made it easier.
okay. Here's an interesting thing I'm seeing right there at the bottom. The person says she is Latasha Monique, and
Hi, Natasha, Monique.
she says her birthday is November the 30th, and it's interesting because the day's the 21st, and I said those also born on the 30th, which is her, and she's out of Detroit, and she's been wanting to see a hypnotherapist. So, therefore, now you're not restricted by geographical location. I take
My
it.
clients are all over the world. In fact, I got a new client from the last interview that we did from the UK.
Really? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Good. Good.
So everything is done on Zoom. So when you put up the banner information, she can give me a call or go to the website and drop an email. You can leave an email within my website or you can just call directly. And I always give a free 20-minute consultation by phone
Well,
before the session.
this is another one that you meant. She says, "This is music lover. I love Kendall. I did a session with her. I need to follow with her as soon as it's been busy since our last session." But she says she's already lost some weight, etc. Thank you.
Yay! I wonder who this is. I don't know who Music Lover is.
Yeah. Well,
Not
whoever it
bad.
is.
Yes, give me a call. We'll follow up and you'll lose some more
And speaking of distance, this person is chiming in. Lisa Mella
from
from Australia.
Australia.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Wow.
it shows the technology of things and
It's
whatnot.
amazing. Do you know what? I used to have to travel. So I would have someone like it was usually either LA, Atlanta, New York, New Jersey, the tri state, Connecticut, like that.
Hmm.
But when COVID came, people became used to doing everything online.
Yeah,
And now my whole practice has taken such a beautiful turn. Just I work with people all over the world regularly now. It's not, people having to fly in to see me.
sure,
In the past,
sure.
I've had that, but now Zoom is a beautiful thing. It really is. And it feels just as intimate because you're still face to face in a way.
Yeah, you just
And
can't touch each other, but it's
right, right. But it works. It works just as well, if not better, because even after your session, like a lot of times once I count someone back up, they will be a little fuzzy, a little out of it, and it's a nice state to be in. You've just done transformative work. No one wants to have to get up and drive or take a bus or a train or a cab or whatever right after. So it's nice that you're in your own space where you're already comfortable. I
but that
had a
makes a lot
client
of sense too.
yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
After I counted her up, I looked at her and I thought, she's still gone. I'm just going to leave her alone. So I just said to her, soak it all in and we'll talk later. And I just turned off the video on Zoom
Mm-hmm.
because I
Mm-hmm.
could see she was still processing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's good that people are at home. I love this.
Well, well, I have another one. We're here, Afro Prep now. I don't know whether you know these people by their
That's Aton.
Aton. I think that man is your husband, isn't it? You know, he did this the last time I read something
I
and come
guess
to
he's
find their
scared
husband.
nobody's gonna.
Well, let me just say in advance. First of all, we had talked earlier this week, and you explained that this month, September, is Disaster Preparedness Month,
It is.
and your
And you see the
husband is
disasters going left and right all over the place.
one of the most experts on disaster preparedness. So toward the
Absolutely.
end, we're going to have him stick his head into the screen, but I've already got him slated to come on Wednesday, October the 5th.
Right. He's
Okay,
so handsome.
so we're gonna spend an hour talking about being prepared. A lot of people are taking a lot of things for granted, thinking everything is going to be available, but I notice, I see a lot of, well, you got to buy food for a couple of months or whatever the case. I'm saying, does somebody know something we don't know? So
Oh,
we're gonna have him on, but it's wonderful to see how a husband supports his mate. That's
yes.
what
He is
that's what I
very supportive,
like.
very loving.
He said it's so nice. It's how wonderful. It's wonderful how Kendall has been able to help so many people.
Maybe I wasn't supposed to say it was him, but it's
Did you
him.
ever hypnotize your husband?
That's him.
Have you ever tried it? Has he ever says, honey, I want you to work on me. I want you to hypnotize
No, no.
me.
But he's still like just so supportive. People say that I've hypnotized him, but I haven't.
Yes, you have. You just did it subconsciously. That's all.
I don't know.
Now, here's one that's very interesting that'll bring us both together. And this person says, is there a connection between numerology and hypnotherapy? I will say yes in a
Would
certain
you?
way. Yes. For in my book,
Mm-hmm.
I have a chapter toward the end, Numbers in You, the orange book behind me. It's called
One I have.
Numerology and Thought Reading. And what it is I have let's say a person's asked me a question of a yes or no nature, and I'm not sure of the answer I might give or whatever the case is. There is a technique where you bypass the conscious mind and reach the subconscious mind, which is
Mm-hmm.
numerology and thought reading. So what I'll do is I'll ask the client to give me 3 single-digit numbers, just any number off the top of their head. And that number will tell me if it's an even number, it means the probability is a no. If it's an odd number, the probability is a yes.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. So, for
Okay.
example, let's say a person says I gave you the number 1, 2, 3. Okay. Well, that adds up to a 6. Well, 6 symbolically means subconsciously deep down, there's areas dealing with duty, responsibilities, obligations. In fact, I think I might do that on my show one day.
You
If
should.
any
So
3 digit
interesting.
numbers, and I'll see how it works. And it also
Oh,
means if the
Jessica.
and
Hi,
if
Jessica.
it's it means no is the answer to the question, that the person of their concern would either be a Taurus or Libra, or born on the 6th or the 15th or the 24th of the month. It
Hmm.
means subconsciously there's something dealing with family obligations, responsibilities, health, all depending on their zodiac sign and stuff like that. So that's what's in my book, Numerology and Thought Reading. So now, do you see a connection with hypnotherapy and numerology?
I see how you can connect the two. I would have to know more about numerology in order to use it with hypnotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Okay.
still reading your book, I'm still learning. I know that Dwan Brown uses cardology when he works with his clients, and he's masterful. Um, I don't know enough about numerology yet. I'm still learning. So, once I have more information, I can probably use that along with my intake form.
Sure, sure. Now, what happens if a person, I have a person here that says, it's Miss Jackson, and she says her birthday is 5/28/82. Can you give her some advice with love? Because
That's
sometimes,
for you.
oh, okay. Well, anyway,
That's for you.
but when people do talk about love, especially women, men, we are more reserved about when we go to a person like yourself or any other person about being very open or anxious about our relationships, where we have some anxieties, I'm not sure. Well, women will express those things. So what happens when you talk to a woman before, like let's say in her case, she is kind of anxious about, well, does this person really love me? Does they really care for me? How do you lead them into it? Or that 15 page now reduce about 10 pages? How-
8. We're at 8.
Even better, even better. How does that help a person? Does that make sense?
That's not what I do. That's not when someone comes to me and they're in the middle of a crisis in a relationship. It depends on what they're looking for. Sometimes someone will say to me, I'm in a relationship, it's toxic, I need to leave, but I just don't have the courage. So we work on their courage. Or I don't know if this is the person for me. I don't know what to do. We will work on their intuition so that not only will they build their intuition, but they'll follow it. So it's not for me to tell someone what's what, because that's not really my place.
Mm-hmm.
It's for them. We work together, but I need for them to really be accountable for their own lives. No one is dumb. No one that comes to me is dumb. They know at least the general direction that they're going into.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as far as men, I have a great track record with men. They open up like it's and because the men that come to me are very open and they just spill it. They just put it all out on the table and not under hypnosis. This is for the
This is in
first
the pre-screen,
hour.
I would imagine.
What they're very open, very honest, very vulnerable. And yeah, men are looking for love and lonely and sad, just like women are. I think I told you in the last interview, I would love to start a dating service because I know wonderful men and wonderful women. I would love to put them together.
Well,
But
I'm sure based upon that, you will probably have a lot of people that say, when are you going to start?
I do. And it's funny, like the professor that I was speaking with today was brilliant. He's in a relationship, but in my mind, I was thinking, I know the perfect woman for him. Wow. But he's in a relationship, so that doesn't work.
Yeah, so we're not going to mess with that. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't even know if I can do that ethically, but it's just that because I really get to know people in such a short time, because it's all there, it's all in the intake, and then we talk, and I pull more information from the intake when we speak. So the first hour is spent just going over the intake and speaking and clarifying and getting more meat,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes they just give you bones, so you get the meat. And then the half hour after that hour is the hypnosis part,
Mm-hmm.
and I record it and then they use it for reinforcement. But yeah, I would say it's not for me to tell people what they want. Sometimes I give advice or I ask leading questions so that they get to where they need to start thinking. Sometimes it's just the connection isn't made. So I help to bridge the gap there so that they can get to where they need to go. But my clients are smart. None of them are dumb. No such thing.
I have another question. It's from Corey Jenkins. They says, "What is your gift? Never heard of a hypnotherapist." Now,
Okay, so
it
it's not a
doesn't,
gift. I
huh?
mean, part of it might be. Some of what I do is a gift. My intuition is very high,
Is that because
and
you
my
develop a
emotional
so-called?
quotient.
Is that because you develop a, as shall we say, like anything you do, a second nature, so to speak, that adds into
After
the equation?
25 years, yeah. After 25 years, it's, but I was always that way. It's not like that was something new, but it's just grown. So when you're doing counseling with people, you just you learn how to read. You know what to try to pull out of people, you know. But hypnotherapy is hypnosis. So it's not a gift per se. It's a therapy. It's a tool.
Hmm.
And
Well,
it's
you know what I was,
used to bring about change, Corey.
well,
So if you had a habit that you needed to change, or you were struggling with something internally, um, a trauma from the past or present, or a habit that you needed to break, or a habit that you wanted to start, or I
mhm.
mean, so many different things. People use it for accelerated learning. I mean, a gazillion different things. If you go on my website, there's a long, long, long list of things that you can use hypnotherapy for.
Well, I want to ask you this: is there a difference between a hypnotist and a hypnotherapist, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
And
So
what
a
it,
hypnotist is someone who gets on stage and entertains. And I've
uh,
tried it twice. It was terrifying, kind
you
of fun, kind of exhilarating. Yeah. I've tried it twice.
okay?
One was at a I don't know if they do that there in the States. It's called a Jack and Jill. They do it before
Jack and
someone gets
Jill.
married.
Yeah, that used to be a big deal. Yeah,
So
Jack
I
and
did it
Jill.
at a Jack and Jill, and then I also did it at a club, at a nightclub in Toronto.
How'd you do?
Not bad, but it was scary. It was very scary. And then I realized um, at the Jack and Jill, I went a little too far. You know, there's always that fear that a hypnotist will go too far. And I had regressed them to nursery school age, and they were doing Ring Around the Rosie, and everything was going fine. And then I said, somebody pooped their pants. Was it you?
Wow. Yeah.
And